gonna do the Argosy cruise tour.
What's that?
Once you've checked in, you'll find your way through that boarding line. Just follow the lines.
You gotta learn. And the fish are gonna drag me down.
All aboard! So cool, be careful. This thing. Oh, there's no waves, so this is a floating dock. So whenever waves come, this thing goes up and down like crazy.
Because I know she would love it. Yeah, absolutely. All right, dude. See ya. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool, cool. Ooh, on the right side, okay? On the right.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Let's go here.
Everyone's gonna go up.
I want to take off my jacket. That's not even right. Look outside, look outside, look outside the window.
Where are we?
Actually,
We're on a cruise. We're doing a cruise tour in Seattle.
we're gonna come back.
Yeah, you want to come back here? What's your favorite part about our trip?
Seattle.
You like the Space Needle? We're moving, look, we're moving.
All right, folks, we are starting back out of our slip here at Pier 55. We're going to let everybody else know we're leaving by sound of the ship's horn. So if you're outside, sensitive to loud noises, or have the kids with you, plug your ears here in 3, 2, 1. Front of the boat, I think I messed that up. Front of the boat's called the bow. The back of the boat is called the stern. If you're facing the bow, if you're facing forward, off to your left is the port side. Yes, port side. Port and left both have 4 letters. That's the easy way to remember it. And off to your right, starboard side. All right. Front bow, back stern, left port, right starboard. With that, I think we're pretty much squared away and ready to get rolling. As we get going today, one of the first things we see on our tour is, I think, one of the hardest things. Just off to our right. When this was built back in 2012, this is the tallest wheel of its kind in the United States. And then Las Vegas found out and built one like 2 or 3 times the size of this one, but that's usually how those things go. Just beyond the wheel here, I think it's really one of my favorite parts of the waterfront. I think a lot of the other tour guides here at this company would agree. The aquarium, just up ahead of us, is a super awesome spot. So it's the blue pier with the white trim around the windows. This aquarium is a little bit unique in the fact that you're not going to find shows or performances necessarily. It's more of a research and education-based facility. There is, though, one trained animal, and it's one of the little sea otters named Mishka. Now, the thing they taught Mishka to do is not like sing karaoke or anything like that. It's actually used her own inhaler. She developed asthma back in 2015, and she knows how to bump a little inhaler with her nose to self-medicate, which I think is
So cute.
practical
So
and also pretty adorable. So you can see Mishka and the rest of the otters over there. There's all sorts of other really awesome exhibits, even some touch tanks you can reach your hands in and touch some of the tidal creatures inside. So especially if you have the kids with you, this is always a great place to go check out. It's just about to start. It'll start, I believe, this Friday or Saturday. Saturday it'll start. And it'll run through, I think it's October 28th of this year. The reason the Space Needle was, and that was the 1962 World's Fair. The thing about the hotel, though, is that even though the fair lasted 6 months, Seattle's most iconic building, it's not the tallest. Space Needle checks in at number 9 for tallest buildings here in Seattle these days, standing at 605 feet tall. It is, though, I would say probably a top 5 or 10 most recognizable skyscraper in the world. As we continue to roll along here, we're gonna keep going up to the north end of Elliott Bay. As we do so, we're passing by here in Seattle, loaded into ships like the one you see here off to the right, and then all that grain is sent across the Pacific over to Asia. Now the reason that it's shipped to Seattle compared to ports like Oakland and Long Beach is we're about a day closer by boat here in Seattle to those trading partners over in Asia compared to those California ports. So cutting off a day of sailing makes Seattle a logical last stop for a lot of this grain. Again, I don't want to make you look back behind us too much, but you might have noticed that there's a little bit of red paint sticking up out of the water on that ship there, and then all black paint up above on the hull. Where those two colors of paint meet is roughly where the Plimsoll line is, or the international load line. So as they load more and more grain onto the ship, it'll sink lower and lower into the water. Once that line is right about at the water level, then it's roughly at maximum capacity, ready to head off to its next destination. In comparison, going back and off to your left, there's a ship similar style. A couple more piers to check out here, and these are two of the largest piers here in the country, actually. Big complex up on top of it, and this is basically the refrigerator, freezer for a lot of the fish that comes back from up to the northern waters off of Alaska. I mentioned seafood earlier. Most of these fishing boats that are actually based out of Seattle aren't fishing in these waters. They are going up to the north, but are just based out of Seattle. But they do bring a lot of this catch back here through town, so that's kind of the first stop for a lot of that seafood there here in
Wow.
Looks like last mention of things off to the right for a little while. This last pier we're going to pass by for a little bit. There's a dark green building up on top. This is another cruiser. So that's a big peninsula that wraps around. That is connected to the mainland though, so that's not technically an island. You can see a few of the islands out here throughout the sound right now. And I really think the easiest one to point out here in our stretch is going to be Bainbridge. So Bainbridge is basically everything straight ahead of us, all the way around to about our 2 o'clock position. So that's all Bainbridge Island out in the distance. I talked to a few people already on the tour today about maybe going over to an hour from either side, run pretty much all day. So just on the next area, coming back, and you're back to Seattle 35 minutes later.
Oh, this is crazy.
Oh my gosh, I gotta go pee.
Many decades ago, and all of a sudden it seems to be like the fastest growing sport in America. And valves down below. They can open the valves up, they start taking on water, they flood the walls with water, sinks down below the surface, vessel gets positioned in the middle, and then all that water is pumped out. And it's actually buoyant enough to lift not only itself up out of the water, but of course the ship up inside of it as well. We don't have any female California sea lions up here in Puget Sound. We don't have males. Males will migrate up here from places like California and Mexico. They usually come up here, it seems like right around Labor Day. They stick around for the fall,
See the seals?
the winter, and much of the spring. And then it's right around this time of the year, it seems like we start to see go over towards this barge up ahead of us as well. This is kind of interesting. This big green barge has not only a whole bunch of containers on top of it. It's like, the reason for this is you can think of this as almost like a highway from Seattle to Alaska by way of the water. So it's kind of tough to get a lot of stuff up there to some of those cities up in Southeast Alaska and whatnot. A lot of roads don't necessarily go in there, especially at certain times. There's a little restaurant up there as well, so you can always grab lunch up on top of the mountain. But again, that's about an hour and 45 minutes away. And not only provides good views of Mount Rainier, you can also clearly see Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, a couple other volcanoes, as well as our 2 volcanoes. And this one is used more for research, so it'll do everything from circumnavigations of North America to trips up to the Arctic to conduct research. There's a lot of lab space on board and room for scientists to ride along on these missions. All right, before we pass behind the Healy, quickly point out T-Mobile Park. Pyramid on top of it. I forgot to mention that pyramid on top is maybe the coolest place to live here in Seattle in terms of apartments. That's a 3-story, 1-unit apartment up there in that pyramid. Has views out of all 4 sides. You can look towards the water, towards the mountains, towards down.
Rate your experience, Landon. 9? Uppa. 9? Naya. Aiden, rate your experience.
8.
8? Naya. Okay. I would rate it 6. Just because I was a little scared when the boat was moving sideways. Yeah, when it was moving sideways. I am so scared of water. How would you rate it? 1 to 10. Lyric, give me a number. 1 to 10. 10? Nice.